a really simple self-assessment.
It's going to be the simplest
Tax return
ever.
The first step is to make sure you're registered with the HMRC, sometimes referred to registering with self-employment. It's advised that you do this as early as possible, as in order to sign into the self-assessment portal, you will need a unique tax reference known as a UTR. Once registered, you will be sent out a letter of confirmation, which will include your UTR and an activation code that is needed to gain access to your online portal. Before you start, you will need your national insurance number, your unique tax reference number, UTR, total turnover for the year, total expenses for the year, a record of interest and savings, benefits and pensions, a record of pay from your employees known as a P60, and to gather all other incomes. What makes up your return? Employment details, self-employment details, and a record of your saving, assets, property, etc. This is what the government takes into account when deciding how much tax a person should pay each year. So for this assessment submission, I'm assuming you're self-employed, are using the cash basis, you have a turnover of £30,000, you have £10,000 of business expenses, which give you a taxable profit of £20,000. I'm assuming there's nothing weird about your tax situation. You have received a letter from the HMRC and you have received your UTR Government Gateway login ID. If you haven't got your Government Gateway ID and left it to the last minute, I suggest you speak to the HMRC very quickly. I'm assuming you're self-employed, using cash basis. Your turnover is £30,000. Your expenses are £10,000, giving you a taxable profit of £20,000. I'm assuming there's nothing weird with your tax situation. I'm assuming that you received your letter from the HMRC and you recovered your UTR Government Gateway. So sign in. Any difficulty, you can find support with logging in here. Once in, you first select the complete tax year self-assessment link. Section 2, basic information. It's fairly simple. This section requires you to enter your name, address, phone number, etc. Just your basic information. 3, tailor your return. Commit that you're providing honest and accurate information. Were you an employee? We're going to say no. This can be confusing as it's irrelevant to your business and actually means did you carry out any work elsewhere? Now the term for this is trading allowance. Was your turnover £1,000 or more in total from the self-employment? We're going to say yes to that as we've got a turnover of £30,000. If you select no to this, this may alter the self-assessment form. There may be a lot less to fill in for someone who has made a loss or under £1,000. How many self-employment? 1. We're going to call it Andy Mac Drum. Were you in a partnership? No. Did you receive any income from land or property? No. Foreign income. I had a question about whether if you're freelance, YouTube or sell products abroad, should you fill out the foreign income section? And my understanding is no, you don't. And this is confirmed if you select the little help button here. And it says in here that this is for interest, distributions, dividends and reported incomes from offshore funds, etc. If you scroll all the way down to help, the following items should not be included in the foreign section, but in the relevant section of your tax return instead. And here it states the foreign income earned by your business or partnership goes into the self-employment or partnership section. So my understanding is if you sold things to other countries, that is just normal money coming into your business. It's not something you would fill in the foreign section of your tax return. If in any doubt, please confirm with the HMRC or an accountant for clarification. Disposable of chargeable assets, we're going to say no, save and continue. In this tax year, did we have any interest? We're going to say no to all of these and keep it simple. But if you did have dividends, interest, this is where you would say yes, and then you would get extra relevant boxes to state figures, etc. But we're going to say no to all that. Save and continue. Did you make contributions towards a pension? We're going to say no. Charity, no. Again, we're going to keep all of this simple. The one bit you do want to look out for is, would you like to transfer 10% of your personal allowance to your spouse or civil partner? I'm going to say no for now, but if you're not using your full personal allowance, it's a good idea to transfer some of that to your spouse. Any other tax reliefs? No, 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 no. Save and continue. And here we're ready to fill in the return. Now we've filled in all the personal information. We need to give a bit of information about self-employment next. So you can click on each of these sections and dive into them, but normally there's just a next button at the bottom. And here you can delete your entire tax return. That's if you make a complete hash of it and you need to start again, then that's the button you need to press. That will delete your whole tax return and take you back to the beginning so you can start all over again. We're going to assume your turnover isn't over 85,000. Foster carer and all this kind of stuff is more niche and unusual stuff. If any of this applies, you should most definitely have an accountant involved. Look at this bit. My turnover is £1,000 or less from all self-employment, but I wish to voluntarily pay class 2 NIC. That's quite a key one, because remember, if you're self-employed but earn less than £1,000, you could end up in a situation where you're not paying any national insurance, and eventually that has a negative impact on your pension. So if you voluntarily want to pay national insurance, it's not very much, then you can do by clicking that box if you have a low turnover. We've got a box here for the construction industry scheme. A whole different set of rules apply for this. And we've got my total turnover is less than £1,000 and I've made a loss. Again, get an accountant or contact the HMRC to get advice on that. So all of this I'm going to assume none of this applies. Save and continue. Description for business. So again, for my simplified example, I'm going to say drum teacher. You don't need to go into depth here. I don't think it will even let you put a lot of characters in. Let me see. $42 characters, so that's not very much, so don't go overboard. Just pop in the postcode. Has your business name changed? No. When did it start? Leave that. Has it ceased trading? No. Don't forget, if you're unsure of any terms or meanings of words, you can click the little blue question mark for a more in-depth explanation. Save and continue. Date your books or accounts are made up to. So as per usual, if you're following the tax year, that's going to be the 5th of the 4th, 2019. Then here is a quest to confirm whether you're using cash basis. It's essential that you know what this is. If you don't, again, you can select the little blue question mark for more in-depth explanation. And again, I've attached links to the description and the end of this video. We're going to say yes. That's absolutely something that you will need advice on from your accountant. This box is probably the most important box you need to get right on your tax return, other than the actual numbers you're typing in. Save and continue. Okay, here we go with the figures. Turnover 30,000. Any other business income? Nope. Trading allowance? Nope. Expenses. How would you like to declare it? You can choose how you'd like to record your expenses, as a total figure or as a breakdown. We're going to do it as a single figure, and we're saying £10,000 expenses. Save. We've just bundled all the expenses and capital expenditure into the expense figure, so all of this can be left blank. Save. Goods of services for own use. Losses brought forward from the previous year. This is for those that are carrying losses from the year before. We're assuming no to all of that. Save. More stuff on losses carried forward. We're assuming no to all of that. This is for if you're a subcontractor as part of the SIS scheme, so this can be left blank. Are you expecting to pay class 4 NICS? Probably not. Read the help. Any other information? Nope. Save and continue. And look, that's that bit done. You could add another self-employment in there if you run more than one business. Remember, we're not talking about limited companies here. This is all self-employment. Save and continue. It's now telling us the national insurance we have to pay, £148 for the year. This isn't too much and will be put forward towards your pension when you retire. You can check the status of your national insurance through the HMRC to see how many qualifying years of pension you may have. Maybe worth checking. And here is the box you would tick for voluntary contributions. We're going to say no for now. Underpaid tax. This is one of them negative bits. In small grey, it says only select here if the amount above is not correct. So here you can see if you don't read each question carefully, then you can easily make a mistake. So we want to say yes. Again, only select no if the amount shown above is not correct. Outstanding debt in your tax code for 18, 19, etc. Now, I think this is one of the few boxes where you actually do have to type a 0 in. Yep. If you're entitled to a rebate, who's going to receive it? Me. And this is where you would type in your bank details if you were due any tax back from the government. If you don't want to give your bank details, you can't leave it blank. It will come up with an error. But what you can do is put, I don't have a bank or building society account, and then they will send you a check instead. So I'm going to do that for now. If you owe less than £3,000 in tax, do you want to collect it through your tax code for the following year? Very important. If you want this, you have to do your return before the 30th of December. Save and continue. Do you need to make any adjustments? Nope. Save and continue. Does this contain provisional or estimated figures? If yes, you'd select yes and explain why it contains provisional figures. At this stage, the answer should be no, meaning your figures. At this stage, the answer should be no, as we have used full figures and should have a log of receipts to produce if audited or asked. Save and continue. Any other information, don't fill that in unless there's something really weird about your tax return because no one will ever read it. Do you want to attach an attachment? No. And then we check the return. Look at this, ticks all the way through. And then next, to view your total calculation, we can see the tax calculation here, £2,913.44 tax due, plus a payment on the account for next year of £1,382.62, meaning that your total tax due is £4,296.06. And then you'd make a separate payment on your account on the 31st of 2020, and that's for your following tax year. I'd suggest you click the view and print your full calculation button here, and that gives you a more detailed breakdown of your entire tax return. I'd suggest you click the view and print your full calculation button here, and that gives you a more detailed breakdown of your entire tax return. So from here, I'll do print full calculation, and that would give you a nice PDF version that you can save for your own records. Save and continue. Are you claiming to reduce the payment on your account? So this is where you say, for example, you know you're not going to be making any money in the tax year, and therefore you know you shouldn't be making payments on the account. So this is where you tell them, no, I don't want to pay any money for the following year as I'm not going to be making any money in the next tax year. So you just put in here what you want that to be reduced by. So here, this first payment on account figure here, if you think you shouldn't be paying that, you should make a note of that number, then pop it in here and explain why you think you should be paying that. So we're going to say no. Again, it doesn't have to be a long piece. It can just be as simple as business ceased trading. Now we're going to say no. Save. And look at that. We're at the point where we can view a full copy of the tax return. Make sure you save a copy. Press save and continue again. And then you submit your return. And that's it. Boom! All done in 15 minutes.
Love and happiness, yeah, something that can make you do wrong, make you do right, yeah. Love.